Hello and welcome to our assembly today. I'm going to be talking to you about the way that we have been making our schools safe for students that are coming in to study on the school premises. We have been open throughout the lockdown to some students, for example, those whose parents are key workers. And last week we were delighted to see most of our Year 12s come into school for the first time, and they have had some one-to-one time with their teachers and will have further opportunities to do so over the coming weeks. We are welcoming back our Year 10 students into school as well, who have also had some one-to-one interviews and will then be given the opportunity to have some of their lessons on site over the coming weeks. Therefore, it is useful for all students to see and hear about some of the measures that we have put in place to ensure that students and staff are able to keep a 2-metre social distance whilst on site, to keep excellent standards of hygiene, and to ensure that everyone stays safe and well. So what would you expect to see if you were coming into school? Firstly, we only have a quarter of a year group on site at any one time. This allows for the classes to be split up to make smaller groups so that students and staff can spread out more in classrooms, allowing for social distancing. Students in Year 10, for example, are being taught in small bubbles of 10 students. Because you will always be asked to keep 2-metre distance away from other students at school, you will not need to wear a mask. However, if you come into school on public transport, such as the bus, you will need to wear a mask, and this is because there is no guarantee that you can keep 2 metres apart from others on the bus. We would recommend that you avoid public transport if you can, and walk, cycle or drive to school. If you are being dropped off by car, it would be helpful to park around the corner and walk from there to avoid congestion in front of the school. Students must wear school uniform. Blazers and jumpers are optional, but no non-uniform items of clothing, such as sweatshirts or jackets, may be worn on site. You will need to take your tie off when you enter the premises and keep it in your pocket. When you first arrive, you will be met on the gate by Miss Kimchi, Mr. Shepherd or Miss Clark, who will take your temperature. Okay, so when you come into school, you would come in through either this entrance or the main entrance up there, and you will be greeted by a member of staff, such as Miss Kimchi, who will take your temperature. She's going to take my temperature now to see that I'm well enough to come into school. Hello, Miss.
Hello, how are you?
This is to ensure that you are not showing any signs of illness. You will then be escorted to your room by a member of staff. When you come in through the gate, you will be met by a member of staff who will escort you to your room. It might be that you have to line up for a while, and if you do, there are dots on the floor to show you 2 metres spacing so that you can line up with an appropriate space in between and keep social distancing. You may have to follow arrows on the floor because we have designated a one-way system to prevent students passing each other in the corridors. So this is an example of a one-way system that you're likely to see around the school. You'll see arrows up on walls and surfaces. You'll see arrows on the floor as you walk around the corridors. And you'll also see sections divided off where you shouldn't go or cross. And the one-way system is designed to make sure that students don't pass in the corridors because our corridors are quite narrow. And so the one-way system will make sure that we can maintain social distancing at all times, and you should make sure that you're following the one-way system. Students in Year 10 and 12 have been given different arrival times. We have staggered the arrival times of small groups of students to make sure that students are not coming into the front gate at the same time. Some students will start at 9 o'clock, some at 9:30, and some will start at 10. Please make sure that you arrive at your allocated time. Try not to arrive too early. As usual, do not arrive late. Break and lunch times are also staggered. When you come in for lunchtime, you will be escorted in your group, in your small group of 10, to the rookery. And you will, because our lunchtimes are staggered, there will only ever be 2 groups in the rookery at any one time. So you will queue up here in socially distanced queue, get your lunch, and then you will stay in your group of 10, and one group of 10 will sit over one side of the rookery and the other group of 10 will sit over in the other side of the rookery. Students will always be supervised, including break and lunch times, to ensure that they keep in their small groups. You will be able to buy lunch from the rookery if you wish, or bring a packed lunch. If you are in Year 10 and are attending lessons, you will have all your lessons in one classroom and the teacher will come to you. This prevents groups of students from walking around the school unnecessarily. You will be given your own table to work at, and it will be spaced at least 2 meters apart from others. For hygiene purposes, sharing of equipment will not be allowed. Therefore, if you're in Year 10 and you are going to be attending lessons, you must make sure that you have your own pens, pencils, and exercise books. You will not be allowed to borrow equipment from anybody else. We would also ask that Year 10 students bring tissues with them. It is recommended to sneeze or cough into a tissue and then put the tissue into the bin, as this prevents the spread of germs. You may also bring wipes and hand gel if you wish. So sanitising your hands is really important when you come into school, and we will be expecting you to wash your hands regularly. And at school we have ordered lots of these that will be stationed around the different classrooms that you'll be in. Now, the thing about these sanitisers is they're much better than the ones that we had, where you had to push the button on the wall and get some gel out. These ones, you don't have to touch it at all. You just place your hands underneath, it's automatic, and you get some gel which sanitises your hands without having to touch anything at all. We will be encouraging students to wash hands regularly. Students will be allowed to use the toilet one at a time and should wash their hands before and afterwards. Doors to all rooms will be kept open so that students and staff do not need to touch door handles. At the end of the day, students will be escorted off-site by a member of staff. Staff will check that there is enough capacity on the buses to take students who are wanting to travel home this way. For all others, students must make their way straight home and will not be allowed to wait outside the school for friends who may be in a different group. In order to make sure that everyone stays safe, all students on site will be asked to sign a contract to show that they agree to follow the rules and procedures that have been put in place. If a student feels ill on site, they should inform a member of staff immediately. We are very much looking forward to seeing all year groups again. For our younger year groups, this may not be until September. However, we have enjoyed seeing the progress that you have been making with the lessons set online, and have been very impressed by your perseverance and dedication. Lots of students have completed every single task that has been set. Please look out for interactive lessons that are being set by teachers this week. For example, Year 7, 8 and 9 all have a live maths lesson each Monday with one of the maths teachers, and you will receive notification on Canvas for this. For Year 10s, we look forward to seeing you next week in school for your lessons. Stay safe and be alert.